Alright, so this is what I plan on doing. I'm going to go over the first part of this, okay, and I don't know how long it'll take, 1 to 2 hours, something along those lines. Then I'm going to say, now you finish. See what I'm saying? Alright, so if you've got one from yesterday, you want to work with that one, that's fine. If you want to start all over again, that's fine. Alright, but I'm going to assume literally that you just want to start all over again. Alright, so let's see. And again, I'm having recurring problems here with Visual Studio Code, so I'm going to come in here, I'm just writing it. I'm going to keep writing it here in Notepad++. It's not what I want to do. So I'm assuming you can all do this. Alright? So in other words, I got the first page. I'm going to come in here, and for the title, I'm going to put in here Hot 1 Home. Okay? And I'm going to add 2 style sheets. I'm going to add the normalize, and I'm going to add my own. Alright? And if you say, well, what do you mean normalize? Again, what were you asked to do? File, save as. So I'm going to go onto my desktop here, and I think I already have probably a folder named Hot 1, so I'm just going to change the name of this. Alright, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to create a new folder that I'm going to call Hot 1. Alright, and in that folder for now, the first thing that I'm going to put in here is I'm going to do a file, save as with this. Alright, and I'm going to put it again in my desktop. Come on. Under Hot 1, and it will be called index.html. Alright, so that's the first thing I've got in here right now. Now, if you say, well, where is that normalize? All you had to do was to go and type in normalize.css. That's all you had to do is put that into here. You click on the link, you click download, and it shows it to you right on screen. There it is. So I'm going to grab that. And that's normalize. So I'm going to save that. I'm going to put in a new folder that's called CSS. And I'm calling that normalize.css. That's the last thing I have to do with that file. I don't have to do anything else with it, so I can close it. I'm going to create another new file, and I'm going to do a file, save as, and I'll save that also in my CSS folder, and I'll call that style.css. Alright, so now I've got my style, and I've got my index. Any questions? That makes sense? Alright, so following what was on the test, alright, what we were told to do then, I created the website, I did the index, I brought that in, okay, I will create the 5 pages, but the way I'm going to do it, I'm going to create my first one and copy it 4 times. Alright, you didn't have to do it like that, but that's the way I'm going to do it. So this is what I want in here. Okay, I want this, and to make sure I don't miss anything, I'm literally just going to put that in here as a comment. You don't have to do that. But I just want to make sure I don't miss anything. So this is what we're supposed to put in here. A header, a nav, a spotlight, All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to put in the header. Okay. All right, so it says we want a header section which includes an H1 heading on each page as shown. So the only thing we have to put in here, well, this is our home page. Now that should make sense to both of you without any problems. So that's this. So I now got that done. So I'm getting rid of it. All right, next we want a nav section. That should have a nav bar. Use the same names as the file names above. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to put in here is a nav section. Well, I'm going to put it in as an unordered list. All right, and it's going to have 5 list items in it. So we want index, we want about, we want resume. These pages haven't been made yet. They'll be made soon. We want work. And we want contact. And if I save this, if I run it right now, it looks like, pardon my French, looks like crap. It does. There's nothing in there. There's no CSS yet. All right? So that's fine. So I've done this. I created the nav section. All right? So I've got 2 things done. And it looks like I've got 3 to go. All right? Questions on either one of these? Because we did this. This is nothing new. We didn't put any CSS in yet. We'll do that later. And it'll look much better. All right? So we've got these 2 things done. So the next thing we're supposed to do is put in a spotlight section, which includes a placeholder section for a large image. All right, well, so we're going to have main. And that'll have a section in there. We're told to call it spotlight. All right. Now, and we're told to put a big image in there. I'm just going to go out right now and grab an image. All right. So let's go out to Google. I'm going to go out to images, and I'm going to put in here IT nerd. You can put anything you want. You can take a selfie of yourself. I don't care. All right. I'll grab this one. I think I look more like that guy than I do like that guy. So I'm going to grab this. I'm going to right mouse click on it. Again, you can grab any image you want. I'm going to do a save image as. I want to put it in Hot 1, and I need an images folder. And for lack of better words, I'll just call it me.jpg. Does that make sense? All right, so that's in there. So if I look now under my Hot 1, which, well, there it is. In images, there's the one I just saved. It'll come up. There it is. And it is 305 by 165. So we're told here we should have an image. The source equals images/me.jpg. The alt equal not really a picture of me. All right. right, the width is equal to 305. The height is equal to 165, and that's it. Now, let's look at it, make sure it actually is in there. There it is. So this is what I've done so far. Again, it looks terrible, but it's okay. Now, are there any questions on any of this? This should make sense. We did this. And again, I got the size by just taking my mouse and putting it right over the picture. I'm expecting you're going to grab your own picture. All right? Because that picture doesn't really look like me, but it really doesn't look like either one of you. All right? So now we've got this done. This spotlight section for the image. So that's done. So what's left? 3 columns for content, unique to each page, and a footer section. All right? Well, if you look on the test, I gave you a hyperlink that showed you that 3 columns for content, where it is. So I'm just going to click on that hyperlink, and I'm going to grab all that code. I'm just grabbing it. All right? And I'm going to go back and I'm going to put it inside of here. Now, we weren't told to create another section. We could, but we weren't told to do that. All right? Now, right now, again, it's going to look terrible because there's no CSS. So when I run this, you're like, there's nothing there. Well, there's nothing there because I have to put something in the div. So I'll put in here column 1, column 2, and column 3, just so I can see it. Now let's run it again. So there's column 1, column 2, and column 3. Everybody see this? All right. Now, I think you'd all agree with me, that looks pretty terrible right now. All right? So rather than just saying column 1, column 2, and column 3, and again, you know how to do this. I'm going to go out to lipsum.org, and I'm just going to grab 2 paragraphs. All right, there they are. There's paragraph 1, there's paragraph 2. All right, because I don't like col 1, col 2, and col 3. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to add those paragraphs right there. And again, yours would look different because the chances of you grabbing the exact same paragraphs as me are pretty much 0 because it randomly gives you paragraphs. I'm just spacing it out so you can see what I've done. Okay, there's paragraph 1 in a minute. All right, now that I've got those, I'm just going to copy it in there. So I'm going to have that same thing in there 3 times. You don't have to do it like that, but I'm doing it like that. So there's my first column. There now is my second column. And there will be my third column. All right, so I've got this in there. I'll go right back to it. Div column, paragraph, paragraph, div column, paragraph, paragraph, and etc. Okay, so it's in there 3 times. I'd have to pretty it up a little, but notice if I save this now and run it, at least I've got content in there. Does that make sense? All right. Because this is going to look tons different in just a minute when we put in the CSS. So, taking it from the top, this is what we've done. We added a title, Hot One Home. We added our links for the normalize and for the CSS. All right, I've been putting this in as we've been doing it. So I added a header with an H1 home. I added a nav with our 5 pages. I added a spotlight, which had the image, and now I've gone in here and I've added this. Does anybody have any questions on what we've done?
Yeah, I think the reason I'm struggling with it is because I don't know exactly what to put all the time. I'm still getting the hang of
I understand that, but like I said, you were shown on the test. You were shown on the test page how it should look.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I'm doing. Yeah. Okay? So every page is basically going to look like this page. Okay? And like I said, I try to annotate it and show you everything. All right? So the only thing that's left in here right now, the only thing that's left is to come in here and put in that footer. I'm going to pretty this up a little bit, okay? But this one looks okay. These don't look very good. I'll fix that in a minute. But, so I'm done now, and under main, I'm going to put in a footer. All right, so there's the beginning of my footer. There's the end of my footer. And what does it say? It says we're supposed to have a footer with personal and copyright information. All right. So we haven't learned about this yet, but you can see it anyway. I'm going to put in my name and address. So look on the screen. I'm putting it in what's called an address tag. Now, I wouldn't have expected you to do that, but I'm doing it just so you can see it. All right? All right, so there's that information. And then I'm going to come in here, and underneath that, I'm going to put in a paragraph that's going to say ampersand copy 2019 JPS Inc. So if you look up on the screen, what I have there now is this. See this? All right. And again, we put no styling in. It looks ugly. It's expected. Before you put in styling, it is expected to look ugly. But that's it, basically. So I'm going to style this, and then I'm going to copy it over so I have, for lack of better words, so that I have 5 pages that have this stuff on it. So in just a second, I'm going over to the style.css page. As we get through here and do this, I'm going to have to jump back into this page right here that we're on, and I'm going to have to add just a couple things. Not much, just a couple things, just so you know that.
Why do you have 2 div closing tags?
Because one of those divs is for this in here, and one of them is I put everything in a div up here. All right, so I'm jumping into here. And I'm going to put in my CSS. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a class called ClearFix. You typically see this. And it's going to say clear both. If you don't know what that means, you will in just a couple minutes. Now, just so I have a color in here, are you all with me? Just so I have a color in here, I'm going to put in here all right, and with, I don't know, 960 pixels. What did that do? Let's take a look. You know what it looked like. You can see what it looks like now. Okay, not that that's a big thing, just so you see that. We changed the color. Okay, it's a start. So that's the first thing. Next thing we want to do is we want to come over to our body. And I'm going to put in here with 80% margin 0 auto. What did that do? It's always easiest to run it to show you what it did. All right? It's now getting to where this is centered on the page. And notice that when I come in here and I cut the size down, all right, well, it doesn't look very good right now, but it's going to end up looking decent. Not great, but decent. All right? So we came in here and we set a background color and a width. Now here I could set another color. All right, so in other words, I could say here color, not color, background color. I don't know, does it no cream? I guess not. We'll just put in here for now, we'll put in white. All right, that's I don't want you to use those colors. I want you to use your own colors. Why? Because that's what you were told to do. So this is what we have. Okay, but everybody can see that, right? You can see I've got two colors in here right now. All right. So, yes, yes it does. And you can pick you can pick any color and it'll actually show you the numbers. Yes, yes. All right, so I'm taking for granted that you've all got this. All right. Now, the H1 tag, I'm not going to give you this because you're told in here what to do for the H1 tag. Did you hear me? You're told what to do. And if you go, well, I tried it and I couldn't do it, at least put a background color in there. If you can't figure out how to do an image, put in a background color. All right. So if you can't figure out an image, put in a background color. All right, so you'll do that from the test. Then I'm going to say nav, UL-LI. And you have to start understanding this. This means all the list items under an unordered list that are in our nav section. So I'm going to put these in one at a time. I'm going to put in here first float, left. Then I'm going to come back. Every time I do this, I'm going to run it again. See what that did? Looks ugly as hell. But we're going to fix it. But I just want to show you each line what it's doing. Display block. Don't worry about writing it. You'll have time when we get all done. See that took those dots out? All right. Text align center. What is that doing? Nothing, because we got that picture there. We'll fix that in a minute. Margin right 10 rem font size 2 rem. All right, what did that do? All right, see that? It's wrong, it's wrong. It'll be fixed in a minute. All right, probably 10 is too big, because when I set it up before, I didn't set it up with colors and sizes and whatever. I just did it. Okay, so let's see. Cut it down to about 4 rem here. All right, 3 might do it. So do you see where it is now? Look on the screen. You see how that's all on the same line? All right. So we've got that. All right. Now, right now, this isn't very good because this is supposed to look more uniform, and it doesn't right now. We're going to fix that too in just a minute. So that's our nav ULLI stuff. So I want to fix. You may or may not remember this. Please look on the screen here. This right here, this one is called the first child. That one is called the last child. All right? We did look at that. Not much, but we looked at it. We're going to look at it more as we go on. But I want this one to be moved over a little this way, and I want that one to be moved over a little that way. That's what I want. I might have to play with this a little bit because, like I said, when I did it, I didn't set up colors and all that other stuff. So I'm going to say nav, ULLI, but I want just the first one. So I'm saying first child. And I'm going to say here, margin left 0.5 rem. All right, then I'm going to do the same kind of thing for the one on the right. So that'll be last child. All right, and it'll be margin right. And again, I'm going to have 0.5 rem. What did that do? It's easiest to run this and show you. It moved the stuff over. You may or may not be able to see it. It's not perfect. This is not exactly the same, but it's getting there. You're going to play with it to try to make it look the way it does, all right, on the test page. All right, so I've got that. Does everybody have this one?
No.
Then hurry it up, because I want to give you time to work on it. That's why I'm saying it. If we can get this done by 9, then you've got 2 hours and 50 minutes to finish. Does that make sense? All right. All right. The other thing, even though they were gone, I'm going to still come in here and do this. Look on the screen. I'm telling it now to remove the underlines, just in case they were there, and I think they were there, but I think they'll be gone now. So look on the screen. This is the easiest way to show you. You see the underlines? See how they're gone? That's the text decoration none. All right. Now, look on the screen. The image looks like dirt. Looks terrible right now. That's not centered. You know, it just looks bad. It's just there. So we'll fix that next. All right. So, the image. Because it's the anchor tag. Now, look on the screen. That look better? All right, it's at least centered now. And what I'll probably also do is I'll say margin top. Oh, I don't know, 1.5 rem. I might have to change this, so hold on just a second. Look on the screen. What I did was I just put some margin up here. You go, it's not there. Oh, must have had that by default. So let's say, let's try padding. top and see what that looks like. There. See how I just pushed it down? All right. It's almost there. You have very little to do. Really do. All right. There's only a couple more things that we have to do. So I'm going to put in a comment here that's going to say footer section. Why? Because I'm about to put in the stuff for the footer. All right. Footer had that address section. All right. And I want that to float to the left. And I want it to have a left margin. And I forgot something that we'll add in just a minute. And for the footer paragraph, we want to float that to the right. And we'll give it the same margin. So margin right 1. Oops. Never put a space in here as the dimwit instructor just did. Do not do that or it won't work. Now, just stop for a second. Look at the footer. See what we've done there? That's what they showed on the test. Now, I want that footer to be white here just like the rest of it because it's part of that. So why isn't it? Well, to do that, I got to do one of two things. Please look on the screen because this is very important. Right now, the reason that that footer is a different color is I put it outside of main. See that? So either I can put the footer in main, which isn't considered good policy, but for now, since we haven't gone over other ways of doing it, I'm just going to do that. I'm going to move the footer inside of main. All right, maybe not the best solution, but notice what it does. You make me a liar. I always love that. Oh, because I lost. Okay, there it is. You know what? I don't like doing that. Let's put it back where it belongs. All right. I'll just give it a color. How's that? I'll give it a background color of white. So for my footer, let's see if that fixed it. It did. So what is going on with this? Something strange. Footer. Oh, okay. Notice how that's a different color? See that footer address? So something's screwed up in here with something. Color white. Footer background color white. Footer address. Low left. What's wrong with that? Did I not spell address right? I did. Footer address.
What about the BR tag? Would that have anything to do with it?
No, that's just a line break. These are all screwed up. I'm going to look up here and see if any of the colors look funky. That should be red because that's the color it makes classes. Okay. Just going to remove this one for now. It shouldn't matter though, but I've got that in there. That looks okay. Oh, that all looks okay. That all looks okay. That looks okay. Okay,
Get that last
I had that H1 tag in there with nothing in there. That's what seems to be screwing it up. So let's see if that fixed it. Well, I'll have to figure out how to make that, put that inside of there.
Could you please go back
Yes,
to your side?
in just a minute. I'd like to get this white first. So let's do this. Probably the easiest fix is to come back up here when we did the body. Background color white. All right, all I can think of is the, no, it's not outside of the body. Wow, so I'm not sure about that color. There's one last thing I got to do, then I'll go back and show you anything you want to see. And that is right before the footer. Remember this? Look on the screen, please. Remember this thing that we did for the 3 columns? There's the CSS for it. See that? You don't even need this. There's the CSS. Copy that. I'm going to throw it literally right in there. What did that do? We now have 3 columns. See that? My coloring is screwed up. Well, what I'm trying to get across to you is there's our heading, there's our nav bar, there's our image, there's our 3 columns, there's our footer. See that? All right. So taking it from the top, you've got clear fix. I'm going to have to put in some clears in here. That's part of what's screwing this up, and I'll show you where in just a second. All right. So how do you put in a clear fix? What the heck does that do? Well, I have told this system that I want stuff to be centered, I want it to be left justified, I want it to be right justified, etc. Before my footer, I want to come in here, say div class equal clear fix. Probably is not going to do much as far as the way this looks. There. That brought me my white stuff back. Okay, so look at that. See what it's looking like now? Still not sure why that isn't white, but I'm not that worried about it. But look what you've got now. So there's home, and what I'm going to do, you can do this any way you want, but I'm going to do a file, save as, and I'm going to put in here about.html. And then I want to go and change up here. I want to change this to about. And I want to change in here where I've got the title, I want to change that to about. Then I'm going to do another file, save as, and I'm going to call this resume.html. And I'm going to make this resume. And I'm going to make this resume. And then I'm going to do another file, save as, and I'm going to save it again as work.html. And I'm going to change this to work. And I'm going to change this to work. Finally, I'm going to do one more file, save as, and I'm going to call this one contact.html, and this will become contact, and this will become contact. All right. Now notice when I run it, contact page, home page, about page, resume, work, contact, work, resume. See that?
Yeah.
So now I've got the pages are done. I'm going to have to figure out this coloring to see what's wrong with it. But everything else that's in here is done. So I want to make sure you've got this, and I want to make sure that you've got the code, and I'd like to do this in 10 minutes. So you've got 2 hours and 55 minutes to finish this.
About 3 hours.
Pretty close.
Is there gonna be, you can go back to the, I saw that you said, it said,
Well, what I want, do you guys have this? Does everybody have all this?
I don't,
Then hurry it up, because like I said, I want to give you as much time to work on this as you can have. So type fast. I'll give you that in a second. I'm going to go through the whole thing. There's only about 60 lines, so this is the first 19.
oh,
We're not going to do this every test. You know, the next test is going to be on chapters 5, 6, 7, and 8. I'm going to give you the test. You're going to be working with this one that you've got here. So you'll be making massive changes to it.
okay, I have all of that.
You have all this.
Yep. Oh, wait, not the last child. That part, I don't have, I have the text calculation. So is the first child always last?
First child is the first one that's listed, whatever that is.
So,
I mean, it's kind of look at it. You said you're the oldest in your family, you're first child.
yeah,
The youngest in your family is last child.
it's like first one.
That's exactly what it is. But it's, you can look at it as left to right, but what you'll see later is we can even change that. Instead of making something go left to right, we can make it go right to left if we want. Does everybody have this?
This quick is a color. Did you know that?
What?
This quick is a color.
Yeah, there's like 140 different colors. There's like cornflower and a bunch of other ones.
I have an address of exactly.
You have it up to here?
Uh-huh.
You too? Okay.
And what?
And really, I should have said there, oops, not there. I should have said their footer address,
I just wanted to put it.
but it's okay. Either way should be okay. Do you all have all this? You both do. Okay. So I'm going to save that, and I'm going to go back to this. I want to do one quick thing here. I think it's going to fix some stuff up, but I'm not sure. I do have it there. Okay. All right. So I'll just go to the home page because it's just the same page copied a bunch of times. But here's my home page. Does everybody have all that? Make sure on each page you change the title.
Mine's a little bit different. Oh, no, it's not.
It's way down at the bottom. So you've all got this, correct? you're going to have to go find that normalized file and copy that into your CSS folder. All right? This is the one that we just created. So here's our body. Do you all have the header with a home in it? You have this? Look and see if you've got all of this. If you don't, add it, modify it, do whatever. That's expecting, look on the screen, that's expecting you call your pages index.html, about.html, resume.html, work.html, and contact.html. Does that make sense? You have all this? All right, then let's start to go down to main. There's the spotlight section where we put the image. You put your own image in there. All right? You put your own image in there. That's that spotlight section. So that right there is this. That's this. Does that make sense? The closing nav is here. So you've got this, everybody, right? All right. Then I've got this div class equal row. Really should have tabbed this more. And here, okay. And I'm going to grab all this and tab at once. I want to just make this look a little nicer. So there's my first paragraph, my second paragraph, and the end of the div. So what do we have here? We've got div class equal row. That ending div is way down at the bottom right before the footer. Then we've got this div class equal column. All right, we've got a paragraph. Then we got another paragraph. All right, then we end that div. So this div right here goes with that div right there. All right, they go together. Then we do it again. Div, class equal column. And we've got another paragraph. Div, paragraph, div. Then one more time. There's all that.
Like div, opening paragraph, closing paragraph, paragraph, closing paragraph, div.
Yeah. And that ends main. Then we've got a clear fix, and we've got the footer stuff. You have all that? Again, that's not your information. That's my information. If you want, you can put your phone number in here. Who cares? So if I want, it's 314-286-3675. If you want to put that in. You don't have to. And when you get done, yours should look basically then like this. Do you have everything, Keegan? Does it pretty much look like this? Your what? All right, well then you've got to make sure that at the beginning you've got div class equal row, and you end that after your last paragraph, and then you've got div class equal column for every one of those, And you got to make sure that you add this. Because if you do that, it should work.
Yeah, I have all that. I don't know why.
But it is 9:01. It is 9:01, and I want to make sure, like I said, you have enough time, as much time as possible. So, please look up on the screen. All right? You've created the website. You've got the folder how it was. You've got all the pages inside of there. All right? You've got your own style file in there. You're going to copy in the normalize. If you click on the link, you can copy it right from there. When you're done, you're going to zip it. No biggie. All right. You now have 5 pages. Each page has a header section. Each page has a nav section and a nav bar. Each page has a spotlight section. Each page has 3 columns of content. It might not look right now, but it has that. So you've got all this. So you've got everything on page 1. For the nav bar, you set it up already with the unordered list. You've already done this. You're going to have to do this. Notice I gave you hyperlinks. You should be able to just use that as an example. I tried most of the time to use W3 schools because they're the easiest ones to use. This is a favicon. Do that last. See if you can put in a favicon. All right? Now, have it display home. Yours does. Add 4 or 5 paragraphs of text. You've got that. All right? And it says on here, try to add a background image. Try to do some of this stuff. You know how to add strong tags. You know how to add B tags. Where do you put them? Anywhere you want. All right? On the about, you've got it that it says about. I'd rather have this be about you. So you've got that thing, remember, in class, for the class, in class. You've already got that stuff, so just add that. The resume, you can click here. Talk about what you've done, and if you say, I haven't really done anything yet, make something up. Okay, if that's what you want, fine. On the coursework, again, your thing, I think it says work instead of coursework. It's not, I don't care. All right. Contact me page. Make sure you create a link to Rankin's emails, all right, or to your Rankin email address. You say, I don't know how to do number 8. All right, I'll leave this up on the board. If you just literally Google this, mail to, if you Google that, it'll show you exactly how to do it. All right, and then finally this page, link to the external style sheet, you got that. Footer, you got that. All right, color scheme, you do that. Okay, use 3 different fonts, you do that. Use some embedded CSS, so you're going to have to change the home page paragraphs to this. All right, change the colors, you're going to do that, but you know how. All right, it says with a wrapper div and margin, you've already done that. We didn't use that, we used it main, but that's fine. All right, if you followed what I did, you've already added the HTML or the CSS comments. Just add a couple HTML comments. Make sure when you're done, because this is 10 points. It's the difference between an A and a B. Make sure you run these through the validator. They both should validate cleanly. All right? Now, I haven't even tried. Most of this we just created together right now, but I'm going to go and grab everything in my index file that you see right here. And I'm going to go into validator, HTML. Like I said, mine might not validate. I don't know. Go to direct input. Come on. Paste this in. Type check. Warning, section lacks heading. Okay, so it says I didn't put a heading in that spotlight section. You know, I could have put an H1 in there that said heading. That's okay. All right, let's look at the other one. Jigsaw Css Validator. Bring up that one. Again, I'm going to click direct input. I'm going to grab my CSS file, copy it in there, and click check. That's valid. See that? Green means it's valid. Make sure you run both validators. Well, I don't know how. I just showed you. Where are they? They're right here. All right, so you now have 2 hours and 49 minutes.